My name's Luke Eve. I'm the director of I Met a Girl. I became interested in this project because over my personal life and also my work over the last decade had started to become really preoccupied with mental health and mental health awareness. Back in 2014, I sort of created and directed a digital series called Low Life. We were lucky enough to then make a companion series called High Life, which was about a teenage girl with bipolar. And when it came time to making that, I really wanted to partner up with two people that I had already been working with in development on a feature film for a little while, and that feature film was I Met a Girl. So that had been working away in the background for some time, and I thought it was a good idea that the three of us try and make something together. So we all teamed up and made High Life. I Met a Girl, like any film, was tough to make, we were in, I think Glenn wrote the script, 17 or 18 years earlier. It was one of the first things he wrote, and then he kept coming back to it every now and then, and it had a bit of a life of its own before I then came on board. And then we were lucky because we had some momentum that, we ended up then being able to raise some finance and attract the right cast and get the film made. But it was really difficult. We were in development, I guess, together as a team for about 5 years, and then we made it in 2019, and then it was ready to be released in 2020. Well, then we all know what happened, the pandemic hit. So we had a bit of a nightmare trying to navigate the environment in which to release a feature film during that period. But I think we are pretty lucky in that we managed to sell it to many territories around the world, including the US and the UK, and also to obviously have it in Australia on Netflix, which was great. We wanted to try and make the film as realistic and authentic as possible to that particular illness, yet at the same time wrap up the story in a way that would be both accessible and entertaining. And so, Glenn masterfully wrapped up this story about a sort of coming of age schizophrenia film wrapped up in a mystery kind of love story. So I loved that. When I first read it, I thought it was remarkable, but obviously that also had challenges. There's a number of stylistic and tonal choices and a number of different tones in which to juggle. So for me as a director, I think one of the biggest challenges of the film was trying to juggle the different tones of it being an authentic story about mental illness, yet also an entertaining sort of love story and romance. And I think, that challenge carried all the way through the shoot, all the way through to the edit. So hopefully we got there in the end. It's a love story, but at its core, it's about a guy with a severe mental illness that he is yet to take responsibility for. And I think Glenn and I and Adam in particular talked a lot about what it was that the film was about, and that was that even if you have a severe mental health problem or a severe mental illness, then you can live a fairly regular life. It's just a matter of recognizing that and getting the right help or assistance or whatever it may be. That was something that was kind of important to me, I guess, through previous work of Low Life and High Life as well, in that, having, mental illness is not the end of a regular life. It's in some ways just the beginning. It's you can still lead a very rich and wonderful existence, I guess. When I was younger, I guess I would go to as many Q&As as possible. I mean, I still do. I'm obsessed by going to Q&As and listening to my favorite directors talk about their films. And, I think one of the key things that every filmmaker talks about is perseverance, whether or not that's in getting your first film up or getting your fourth or fifth movie made. I think it's just about plugging away and persevering and trying to make as many things as possible, because every time you make something, no matter how big or small, it's a learning curve. I already watch I Met a Girl and cringe most of the way through because there's things I would do differently now and it's only a year ago. So I'm hoping the audience doesn't feel that way, but I certainly do as a filmmaker. I absolutely loved filming in WA. It was a fantastic environment, amazing landscapes obviously, but the city of Perth was great and really easy to shoot in as well. So I really enjoyed that experience. And I loved our cast. You know, we were lucky enough to secure Brenton Thwaites as the lead character of Devon. Many years before production, he came on board quite early and was really a big fan of the project and really wanted to make it happen. So we got lucky there. You know, he was very kind of committed to the role. He really understood Devon. He did research on mental health, mental illness, people with schizophrenia in particular, family members of schizophrenia, and I was really impressed by that. But not only did he do that, but so did the supporting cast of Lily and Joel and Zara. They all read and did a ton of research on schizophrenia and the effect that has on individuals as well as loved ones. At its core, like I said, I Met a Girl is a story about a young man with schizophrenia, and then it's wrapped up in a love story, but it's also a story about brotherly love. You know, I think as with most sort of mental health scenarios or mental health stories, there is always a family member or a loved one who is affected by that affliction as much as the person suffering from it. And I loved the elements of the brothers in the film. I could really connect with that. I have a brother that I'm quite close with, and I love the story of two brothers looking out for each other and trying to help one another. And I think Glenn and Adam as twins really loved that story aspect as well. So it was nice to be able to tell that story authentically, I think.